I'm Kevin Harrington, and I'm with my co-host Forbes Riley. We've seen Forbes on TV as a celebrity fitness expert and as TV show host for many years now, Forbes.
And of course, Kevin, you know as the original shark from Shark Tank.
And we're here with an amazing guest, Deborah Wilson. Deborah, you're an intuitive coach, author, and speaker.
And I am lucky enough to actually be one of her clients.
Oh, wow.
Which is such an honor and pleasure.
Well, you know,
Truly.
I think you're an amazing woman, and what you offer is powerful. So I'm excited to share it with everybody.
I am too. I'm really delighted to be here, and thank you so much to both of you.
Great to have you.
So now, you've written books, you have a program. Can you explain exactly what is it that you do?
Well, I think before I tell you what I do, I think it's really important how I got to do what I'm doing.
Okay.
Because what I'm doing now is not what I really went to school for, what I planned for my life. And what happened was I was really inspired to write my book and do what I'm doing because I was really unwell. It really can bring tears to my eyes that I was so sick at one point in my early 30s. I actually was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, wow.
And as if that wasn't enough, right? Kind of a wake-up call, just a little bit. And then by my late 30s, I actually was diagnosed with an incurable disease, meaning that the medical community says there's nothing we can do for you. And really the three things they had for me at that time were reduce your stress, which is always a great idea.
Right.
Eat right, and you know, just get some rest. And I'm like, okay, well, that's just not enough.
And the disease you were dealing with, it was?
Well, it was an autoimmune disease, but I had a full spectrum. So it wasn't just one, like there's lupus or there's rheumatoid arthritis. I had a full spectrum as well as symptoms of so many of them that are out there.
That sounds painful.
Well, it was excruciatingly painful. I was having trouble walking. I was having trouble doing the job at the time that I was doing. And ultimately, the saddest part for me was I was really having a hard time being a mom. Like I could really, I mean, you get it. You have children.
You were a dental hygienist at the time.
I
Yes?
was.
Okay.
I was.
How did you go to work?
Well, the fact is, what I loved is my dentist was like, you know, you're so good at what you do, even if your degree is a caliber less, you're still great. But because you're working with, you know, instruments, what we call instruments, sharp instruments, I just didn't really feel comfortable doing that because my hands were really in a lot of pain. I wasn't able to grip my instruments anymore. So I ended up actually having an amazing experience where I feel like this beautiful inner guidance came through me, what I call my intuition. And what I was really told is that there was a better life waiting for me, that there was something more.
Okay, so I think just for a second, that is something that I think so many people hear or think they hear, but then they go back to their regular job because they need the security, they need this, they'll deal with the stress, they hate their boss, and it's unfortunate.
Right.
You took a step out, kind of, my philosophy is leap and the net will appear.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I really felt like I was dying. My temperature was very low. I was having trouble staying warm. And again, I couldn't do what I was doing. I couldn't be a good wife, a good mom, all the things in the way I wanted to be, and that was really, really painful. I was suffering.
So
really
your guidance
greatly.
told you to do what?
Well, that was it, to trust my guidance. And that's what I was ignoring. And we all have this amazing inner voice, that what I call this inner GPS system, right? We use GPS for cars all the time. How do I get from here to here, right, on a map? Well, we have that for our life. How do I get from where I am right now, for me at that time it was suffering, I was unwell, to health again? And this intuitive voice was really basically saying to me, you know, your body wasn't like this before. So if your body could get into this mess, and it was a mess.
You inspired all of this work that came out of that transformation.
Absolutely.
So what is it that you do now with people?
Well, I do for them, right, what I've done for myself. And I have this really unique ability that really got honed in after being ill. Like I really began to trust every intuitive hit, every idea, inspiration I had, to see alternative healers, to whatever it was. I was like, I'm on it. I was obedient. I honored that voice.
When you think about a GPS, it tells you go right, go left.
Absolutely.
And so this internal GPS is what guided you to change your life, and now you're helping other people tune into their own internal GPS.
Absolutely, because we all have, like you were saying, Forbes, we all have this amazing, this inner guidance, the gut feelings, right? The knowings that we have.
But you don't listen to it because you think, oh, everyone's telling you no.
No, exactly, because then we have the other voice, which is the critical voice. Right? The darn critic that's saying, we're not enough, we're alone, don't ask for help, you gotta do this yourself. You know, just all this stuff that really, really holds us back and keeps
Deborah,
us stuck.
how do you get people, how do you teach people to tune in to their GPS?
Well, first of all, I actually hold a great example for them. That's the first thing I do. I really show them. I have this unique way to just really see into their lives, places that they're missing, or like Forbes said, they're ignoring.
Well, I'm going to jump in for a second because I've actually had sessions with Deborah.
Wow.
And it's unlike anything I've ever had because it's not a therapist, it's not technical, it is quiet and intuitive, and you know that you've got some issues that you want to solve, and the way she connects to you, and you find yourself going, oh yeah, oh wow, oh my God, yes, and it's so phenomenal and intuitive. You go, wait, how did you know that word? She'll say something going, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear,
Right.
or that was important to me, and yet you come up with this, and it's not psychic, it's not woo-woo, it's actually.
I love that you're saying that.
It's amazing.
I love that you're saying, okay, you know, because people would say, oh, that's really woo-woo. We hear that a lot.
Guys, does it work for men?
Of course, right? But we often hear about women's
he's
intuition,
signing up now, right?
or they call it airy fairy, but
Yeah.
it's really not. So when people are suffering, when they're feeling stuck, when they're in pain,
Yes.
you know, and this is I work with a broad range of people. I have literally worked with a 4-year-old. And I've worked with almost 80. That's been the spectrum of ages, as well as occupations, tons of occupations. I have a beautiful woman who's an artist,
Right.
who really came to me because she was suffering greatly. Her name's Melissa, and what was up for her was her marriage was falling apart. I knew what that was like just as a person, as a woman, but from an intuitive standpoint, I could support her in going from a place of just hopelessness and showing her a bigger picture of what she could do. And I didn't even know she was a painter at the time. I was like, okay, I'm seeing you painting, I'm seeing you actually working through this using paint, using this as your own art therapy, if you will.
Wow.
And she's like, well, I paint. This is what I do, right? And so we've taken her really from feeling hopeless to really seeing the potential of a new life. She has a new career now. So all of this has happened as she's been willing.
How do you spread the
Willing.
message? I know you do some speaking. You have a
I
book
do.
now, so
I
you're
do.
becoming this expert, you know, all
Right.
across the country.
Well, one of the things I have is a podcast. I have
Okay.
2 different podcasts on iTunes. I started off with one radio show that was called Angels and Prosperity with Deborah, and then I switched that to the Spiritual and Wealthy show. So I have podcasts, and actually, it is wild crazy. I actually get more people from the podcast. I have a European client who a friend of hers told her to listen to the podcast. She hired me for a couple individual sessions, and she's renewed with me 3 years in a row. So I work with people all over the world.
That's the kind of testimony you want. Now, your latest book, Spiritual and Wealthy. When you talk about spiritual, what does that word mean for you?
Okay, as you say that, this is what I see. So I feel like I have this beautiful computer screen that's like standing between you and me, but I can see you, right? 2 words, being yourself. And most of us aren't being ourselves.
See, that's not religious, and that's where most people go,
Right.
oh wait. No, spiritual is, so being yourself, even when you said that, I got chills.
Okay,
That
so which is
feels-
confirmation.
Yeah.
Confirmation that something is really important in that moment. That's what I get to.
Okay, so then, of course, he's the ultimate entrepreneur. He'd say wealthy is all about cash. Sorry.
And why not?
Right?
But
Cash is-
I do a full spectrum. So it's like full spectrum living is what
Well, because wealthy means, what else does it mean for you?
it, for me, what I love to teach and what I've come to know for myself is that I need to feel, it's a feeling. I need to feel wealthy. I need to feel joyful in every area of my life. So whether that's my career, whether that's my partnership, whether that's relationships with children, it doesn't
So
matter.
it's not just the financial
Well,
wealth,
because
it's across all
haven't
the
you
other
met people who
spectrums.
have a lot of cash in the bank and they're not happy and they're not
Yes.
nice people?
Well,
Yes.
here's a great
Many.
example.
I was on Shark Tank with a few of them.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful.
I love it. Well, okay, so I'm a perfect example. I had created what we would call the American dream. You know, I had the kids, the house, the wonderful job, the wonderful creating financial freedom for myself, and I was unwell. So how wealthy is that?
So how does somebody know that it's time to reach out to you?
That's a great point. Stuck is one of the words I hear a lot. I feel stuck. I don't know what else to do. They're suffering and they've tried other things. They've tried maybe meditation on their own, where I bring them to one of my products actually, where I became a music producer. That was just wild. That came completely intuitively, completely guided every step of the way to actually produce something so people, I'm going to say normal people, okay? I'm just going to say that. You know, we don't need to sit in the lotus position and wear a turban and, you know, there's this idea, right? We get so hung up on that. But meditation, which is why I feel like I was guided to create that, is to reduce our stress, increase our sleep.
And it's all
And
natural.
increase our all
For those of
natural.
us who-
No side effects except for
Right.
happiness.
No side effect except for happiness. I want this. Okay, this one's coming home with
Well,
me.
when I was reading your book, I saw there's 44 nuggets that help you'd be more successful. So
Right.
give me a couple of the nuggets.
Well, in this one, what's really sweet, and I'll tell you a story. So this one was really inspired. It's the beginning of a series, but I ended up doing this one in particular for grads. My son had recently graduated from college, and I wanted to give him something. I wanted to impart some wisdom, like what I wish I would have known, right? So I ended up actually taking some information from my first book, It's Okay to Be Spiritual and Wealthy, and taking little quotes, things that I just thought, sound bites really, Instagram pictures, tweets, really. They're
Right,
just
that's
they're
what's so great about this
small
book.
little sweet, like you
Yes.
can get to it and get it done. And that's what I love. I want fast. I want speed. I want to move through things really quickly. So
Wait, I just opened a nugget that I want.
okay, so wait, Forrest, you just did what I actually recommend people to do. You don't even start at the beginning of the book. Use it as
Wherever you want.
like an
Okay, so
oracle.
here's what I just got as a
Yes.
nugget.
I love it.
Believe you're worthy and that you deserve whatever you desire.
Wow.
I'm taking that one to the bank with me because
Yeah.
that is so. It's
love
a
it.
beautiful thought for the day. It's an affirmation.
Absolutely.
And again, what I love about you is, and not that I have anything against all the trappings of what we think meditation is,
Right.
but you look like a wonderful, successful woman, and yet you operate on a spiritual level. And I think that speaks to so many people who say, "Wait a second, I don't know if I believe in all of this." I believe in you, and I believe that your message is here to help so many people.
Right.
And you just need to tune in and say, "Hey, I want to connect with her."
Absolutely. Well, there is someone really famous that we all know of, and that's Albert Einstein. And he's really, I want to say he's one of my heroes because he is someone who actually used his intuitive self, spoke about his intuition,
Right.
and took that and integrated it with his logical, amazing brain, and then created. And that's what, both of you
Yes.
know, all these amazing people who've created, everyone who comes on Shark Tank,
Yeah.
right?
Created something.
They've
Out
created
of nothing.
something, right?
Intuition.
Yeah.
Who have you helped? Give me a couple of examples of some case studies or
Okay,
some
great.
folks that have come to you. And
I have this
transformation. That's
Yeah.
the word I love.
yeah, moving through it quickly. So I have a really successful client named Carrie, and she originally hired me for some single sessions. I still offer some single sessions, but mostly I do 6-month-long coaching sessions or year-long coaching sessions because
Okay.
I really want to not only help people move past whatever's up for them, what's causing the pain and suffering, but I want them to stay on this trajectory, right, to create whatever they're wanting to create.
Right.
So Carrie came to me originally because she'd created this amazing, successful, beautiful holistic practice, and what was missing, her heartache, was she wanted a partner. She wanted a marriage partner, and she wanted to create a family.
Okay.
And so she had kind of an inkling about moving, and I said, oh, of course. What I could see for her is you have to move. You literally have to go back home to where you started, and your man was waiting for you. I could see this. And she did it. Now
Oh,
this
wow.
is where things happen. You have to take action on the guidance you're given, right? Because if we ignore it, hello, I was
Take
wrong.
action.
Right, kind of messy.
Absolutely.
Life gets a little messier.
Yeah.
So she's 4 weeks away from giving birth to their first child, and she's married to
The guy that was at home.
yeah, exactly, on the East
Wow.
Coast.
Don't you love when those?
Oh my gosh, I actually have many of those. I have people say, I'm never going to partner. And that's an ache for all of us. We want a partner that loves and adores us, and we can love and adore. And they feel like there's never enough.
Well, I would love you
Yeah.
to reach out to the audience directly, and I would literally, this is one of my favorite books of yours.
Oh, you're so
And
sweet.
just tell them why they need to come connect with you and how they could feel better by doing it.
I love that. So what I'm actually seeing is the word portal, and for me, intuition is a portal to everything that you're wanting. And so when you're struggling, when you're in pain, or if you just want to really uplift, your financial freedom, your health, your relationships, and you're not sure how to do it, I don't know how to do it, I'm your gal.
And how do we find you?
Well, you can actually get my information at the bottom of the screen.
Good.
And connect with me, and I have free gifts. I actually have a beautiful piece of music called The Love Letter that
wow.
came through in producing this wonderful music.
That you're giving away for free if
For
anyone
free.
just reaches out to contact you.
Absolutely. They just, it comes as a download, and they get it for free. And it's really, if you know anyone who has trouble sleeping, it is the perfect piece of music just to
Wow.
play
Oh,
quietly.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So amazing. It starts with intuition and it ends with wealth. What could be so bad?
And from an original shark, I'm going to take that.
Exactly.
I like
love
it.
it.
Deborah, it was fantastic having
Thank
you
you
today.
so much.
Thank you.
What a pleasure.